What's good, YouTube? It's Quintessential Q, your quintessential ain't shit YouTuber here. And today I'm coming at you with an update tier list video. And the crazy thing is, I did a tier list video like a week and some change ago. But due to all the changes within the meta and within the game, I had to do essentially another one. So much has changed within a short amount of time that I have to do an update tier list video. We got Gardevoir introduced in the game since the last tier list video. We've had a patch that has changed the meta quite drastically, if I will say. And on top of that, I hit Masters and Pokemon Unite, so my overall opinion of some Pokemon has gone up or down depending on how I've seen them perform at the highest levels of play. With that being said, before we get into it, if you would be so kind as to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell notification so you get notified when my videos are up, and drop a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. Now, getting into the tier list video, one opinion that has not changed is that the best Pokemon in the game, in my opinion, is still Lucario. Lucario is an amazing Pokemon. And when I tell people that Lucario is probably the best Pokemon in the game, some people understand it. Some people are like, what? Lucario? It's not Gengar? It's not Cinderelly? No, it's Lucario. Now let me run you down why Lucario is one of the best Pokemon of the game, and in my opinion, the best Pokemon in the game. One, Lucario can literally fill any role. He can kind of be like your kind of brawler support Pokemon. He can be the carry in lane, and he can be your jungler. Literally can fulfill all three roles. On top of that, his kit is fantastic. Everything about, there is almost no downsides to his kit. He only has two downsides, and I'll get into those in a minute. But he has one of the strongest power spikes in the game when he hits level 5. When he hits level 5, he hits one of the strongest power spikes in the game by getting Power Up Punch. Power Up Punch does an absurd amount of damage, a disrespectful amount of damage, in my opinion. On top of that, it has a knockback, so it can push Pokemon out of position. On top of that, when he hits level 5, he still has Meteor Mash, which is another knockback, which makes his gank potential at level 5 out the jungle absurd. On top of that, in his third auto, he has a knockup. He has CC in his autos. CC is crowd control. For those who don't know, that means just stuns, knockups, knockbacks, sleeps, all that jazz, slows, all that is known as CC. So he can hit you with Power Up Punch, kind of push you out of position, hit you with Meteor Mash, push you even further out position, and if you somehow live all that, you just die because he basically pushed you all the way towards his enemy team. He gets Bone Rush at level 7, which is a kind of nice power spike for him. Not as big as the Power Up Punch power spike, but still a really good power spike because Bone Rush gives him more mobility, it gives him more CC, it resets the cooldown for Power Up Punch when you land the Bone Rush. So you literally just Power Up Punch, Bone Rush, Power Up Punch. The only two things that are bad about Lucario's kit is close combat, which is mitigated because you just pick Bone Rush anyway, and his Unite move. His Unite move is easy to dodge, is easy to get out the way of, is really telegraphed, doesn't really even do that much damage if you get hit by it, and that's like the most lackluster thing about his kit. But it has a passive that powers up your next Power Up Punch, so it's not even all that bad in my opinion. And he can still snipe objectives with it from across the map. He can snipe at people from across the map. It's still a pretty good ult. It's just not one of the best ults when compared to some of these other people in the game. But he is still one of the best Pokemon in the game. This man has CC in his basic attacks. His third auto is a knockup. His passive is a shield that can keep him in the fight longer or help him get away. There is literally almost no downsides to this Pokemon. Now, C tier, Mr. Mime. I said this last tier list. I will say it again. I don't think Mr. Mime is that strong. I have seen Mr. Mimes pop off. I am not saying that. I have seen Mr. Mimes pop off. But compared to everyone else, I feel like Mr. Mime is just a little bit lackluster. I feel like, yeah, he provides damage, but if any of like the speedsters or any real damage dealer gets on top of Mr. Mime, he's going to die. Yeah, he can put up the walls to try to peel them off him, but yeah, most likely still gonna die. When a Mr. Mime's trying to get away from me as Lucario, since I'm a Lucario main, I really don't care. Put up the wall. I'm gonna just power up past it and still hit you. Who cares? And then I'm gonna hit you with Bone Rush, reset my power up punch, and punch you again. Like, you're going to die. He doesn't feel that tanky right now. It feels too easy to kill him. Right now, I just feel like he provides damage and that's it. But if I wanted damage on my team, I would pick a high damage all-rounder or like just a straight up attack type person. And if I wanted tank and support, I would just pick a better support or I would just pick a tank. So both roles that he's supposed to fill. Like, he really doesn't exceed in any role at all, in my opinion. So that's why he's down there. Someone who's a solid A pick, Absol. Whoops. Absol. Someone that I feel like did not need to be buffed, but for some reason they buffed this character. This character is absurdly good. Their only weakness is that if they get caught out in a team fight, like if they commit too hard in the team fight and get hit with like a CC or something, they die. For some people don't think this highly of Absol. Some people put Absol down here or down here. This Absol, if you're a good Absol player, and I'm talking about the highest level of competition for all of these from a master's perspective, like from a master's perspective at the highest level of play, Absol players at the highest level of play know how to play the character. They know what they're doing. They're not diving a team when they know they can get easily caught out and die, because that's Absol's weakness. If they get caught out, they are most likely dead. They know how to play this character optimally so that they play that assassin type role that Absol is meant to be. Absol is meant to be that character that sneaks in, dives like a squishy target, bam, crits him up like once or twice, gets out. That's it. You come in, you do your dirty work, you get out. Wait for your cooldowns to reset, you do it again. You really gotta, with Absol, you really gotta know when to pick your targets, like who to pick and when to strike. That's really the hard thing to learn when you're an Absol player. Is like, okay, in this team fight, who do I target first and when do I target them? So, because if you get caught out, you're dead. So that's really the only thing that you gotta know with Absol. But other than that, a fantastic Pokemon. One of the best Pokemon in this game. Definitely a strong jungler, has strong gank potential just because of how much damage they output. Fantastic. Let's see. Let's get a solid B tier. Crustle. Crustle is B because I feel like compared to the other two tanks that we currently have in the game, he's just the worst of the three. He has the access of setting up the wall or getting shell smash. The walls are really good for like cutting people off or protecting your teammates. But at the same time, a lot of people go shell smash, but shell smash is kind of like selfish to pick up as like a tank who your main job is to frontline and pill for your like squishier characters, like to pick up shell smash is a little bit selfish. So, you know, it is what it is. Other than that, X-Scissor does fantastic damage and stuff like that. Again, the walls is somewhat good peel, but kind of a similar idea that if you have like a dash of some sort that goes through walls, you can just go through them like you go through Mr. Mime's walls. No biggie. Continuing on, we really don't have no more C tiers. Mr. Mime is down there by himself. Venusaur used to be with him, but now he is in B. His buffs do help him. The Solar Beam cooldown reduction does help. The Pedal Dance buff does help. The Sludge Bomb buff does help. I just don't think it was enough to bring him up to here. But all the buffs that he did boost him up a little bit so that he's ever so closer to here. I think if they just tweak a little bit of things, don't really go too overboard with it, he can easily get up here. A tier is like that center of balance tier, in my opinion. Like, this is where you want to be, like, for most of your Pokemon. If you're up here, great, fantastic for you, I guess. But this is really like the center of balance tier where you want to be. That sweet A spot, really. But right now, I feel like that his buffs do help him get closer to this, but he's just off the mark ever so slightly. Most of the Pokemon spoilers are going to be in this A tier as we go along. Zeraora is going to be another one in this A tier. Zeraora, if you were to ask casuals about Zeraora, they feel like he's in S tier. If you were to ask like higher ranked players, they would probably say A or B. I say A. Zeraora is good. Similar to Absol, they have one job, and that is to get in, burst down a target, get out. And they have the same weakness because they have that same playstyle. If you catch Zeraora with a good CC when he's trying to dive a target, he is most likely going to die, especially if he's picked Spark over Volt Switch. Volt Switch is a little bit safer for him because it essentially teleports him back to where he came from. While Spark is kind of more like you're committing to the dive if you pick Spark. Yeah, you could like Spark once, Spark twice, maybe burst down the target and save that last Spark for just a little bit of space to get out. But for the most part, if you get caught with any like really hard CC as a Zeraora player, you're most likely going to die. Struggles from the same thing that Absol struggles for. They take down objectives just about relatively the same. So you can really argue either or right here. I feel like with Discharge, that Zeraora does have a slightly better team fight presence. Definitely has the better ult, so, you know, definitely a better ult for team fights as well. Even though the ult did get nerfed, but that thing did an absurd amount of damage, so it did need to get nerfed. But it is what it is. Continuing on, Cramorant. I feel like Cramorant's A. I still feel like he's like either at the bottom of A or top of B. The nerf really doesn't hurt him all too much. It just hurts his early game clear, but his early game clear did need to be toned down a little bit. I feel like it just needed to be toned down just a tad because it was just a wee bit too strong, But now that it's been toned down, you know, he's still really good. He still has CC, he still has damage, he still does Cramorant things, and Cramorant's still a very good and fantastic Pokemon to have on your team. They could kind of play like a more support style, like ADC, or they can kind of be like that damage dealer, that far range in the back damage dealer, causing havoc, setting up kills with like Hurricane and stuff like that. So I feel like they're still very solid as an attacker. Continuing on, Garchomp, I just feel like Garchomp's a B. The more I play Garchomp, and the more I see Garchomp, the lower my opinion goes of him. He was up here last tier list. I feel like he's down here in B. Just because, like, Garchomp takes so much to get online, and his early game is just so bad. His early game is god awful. If you go in lane, you have like no lane pressure at all as a Gible. And if you go in the jungle, literally any jungler that has like somewhat of an idea that how to take care of Garchomp or Gible really, will just find you in the jungle once you clear your jungle camps and kill you. Like, the only ones that might not be able to do that is Gengar, because at Gengar level 5, Gengar really can't mess with you, and Talonflame, because as Fletchinder at level 5, they can't mess with you either. Like, those are probably like the only two junglers that really can't mess with you at level 5. But Lucario kills you at level 5. Absol definitely kills you at level 5, especially if they get multiple crits. Zeraora kills you at level 5, and he doesn't even get access to Volt Switch, Spark, or Discharge yet. He doesn't get Discharge until level 8, doesn't get Spark or Volt Switch until level 6. But at level 5, he will still kill you. Who else? Cinderace in jungle will kill you. Greninja in jungle will kill you. Like, every other jungler will kill you. And in lane, you just get bullied, because they see you as a Gible and just make sure they oppress all of your farm, and there's not really much you can do about it because you don't really got great secure to try to steal camps and stuff and get that XP that you need. You need to be paired with a really strong support or tank that has better secure so that you can get like ahead. But if any jungler knows they're just going to either oppress you in the jungle if you're playing jungle, or oppress you in the lane if you're in the lane, to the point where by the time you get Garchomp, there's like 2 minutes left in the game and your impact is almost nothing. Alright, next up on the list. Let's see. Do we got any more B tier picks? Nah, I don't think so. I think that might be it for B tier. But we'll go back to A tier with Cinderace. Someone in my last tier list video, I had him at A. Maybe I saw into the future. I don't know. But honestly, last tier list video, he should have been up here. But this tier list video, he is an A, actually. The nerfs do hurt him a good amount. The overall attack nerf that he gets, plus the lower damage on Blaze Kick, plus Feint having less invulnerability, does hurt him. I mean, Pyro Ball got buffed, but I think that was to mitigate the fact that they were reducing his overall like attack stat, so that they buffed Pyro Ball to just kind of mitigate that a little bit. Like, but overall, still a fantastic Pokemon. Can still go into the jungle and still do Cinderace things. In team fights, he's still really good. He's just not as oppressive as he was, where you can just literally just mash your forehead on the A button and walk at somebody and kill them, and there was literally little to nothing they could do about it. He's just, you kind of gotta actually play the character now. Essentially, like, you actually got to think about what you're doing and play the character instead of just running forward, just walking people down, mashing your forehead on the A button. Alolan Ninetales, S tier. This Pokemon's really good. It's a pretty strong power spike at level 4 and just really steamrolls from there. Has a whole bunch of CC in her kit. It is extremely hard for any of like the close range damage dealers to get up to her. Like, she will stun you, freeze you 1,000,000 times over, and it is incredibly hard to get up to her. When you get up to her, she's easy to kill, but the problem is getting up to her. She's an incredibly defensive Pokemon. Her with any tank, or with Cramorant, or with a Pikachu, is an extremely oppressive lane to deal with, because any Pokemon that can provide any more CC to the CC that she already has, I pray for you, because it's probably not going to go well in that lane, honestly. Charizard, a fan favorite, right? The Gen 1 GOAT is an A tier. He wasn't B tier last tier list video, and he's crept up to A, right? They improved the burn damage on a lot of his moves, which helps out with damage. He still has one of the best Unite moves for team fights, in my opinion. Just flying over, raining down fire on everyone, doing a lot of damage. And then you can scoop someone up, take them out the fight, take them problematic threats off the fight, like out of the fight, setting up your team to probably dive them if they're not going to die to the seismic toss itself. Just really great Pokemon. Gets his Unite move insanely fast. So if you have Energy Amplify, you get it even faster to the point where you almost have your ult almost every team fight. It's just, Charizard's in a really great spot right now when it comes to how strong he is in the game. Gardevoir, the new kid on the scene. We've been with Gardevoir for like a week now, week and some change. And Gardevoir is a solid A. She kinda has the issue with Garchomp that if you don't get like to level 10, or if you don't get to your power spikes in a relatively good time, you're just kind of useless to your team. But unlike Garchomp, when she finally gets to like where she needs to get to, she is extremely useful on the team. Her team fight presence is insanely strong. Psyshock does a lot of damage. Moon Blast into Psyshock is absurd damage. Like, and has one of the best team fight Unite moves in the game, especially for like Zapdos fights and stuff like that. Has one of the best team fight ultimates in the game right now. That thing is incredibly strong. The black hole pull into just blowing up into dying, and she can still toss moves into the black hole, so you're taking even more damage, and people can still hit you with moves while you're getting pulled into the black hole. So most likely, if you get pulled into the black hole, you're just gonna die. So, just an incredibly good Pokemon. There's really few downsides other than their early game is trash. It's a bit rough, but it's definitely a better early game than Gible, and the payoff to get to Gardevoir is definitely better than the payoff to get to Garchomp. So, solid A tier pick, honestly. It's a bit harder to shut down Gardevoir Rolts. It's a bit harder to shut down Rolts getting to Gardevoir than it is to shut down Gible getting to Garchomp. It's a bit easier to do that, honestly. Next up, El the God, right? Is not a god no more, and they're an A. El the God is really good. Unfortunately, she has been nerfed to the point that, she's kinda alright. She's good. She's still good. She still provides heals. She still does El the God's things, but she just doesn't do them as well as she used to. And she got brought down a bit to the S tier demon that she was, healing up everyone to the point where they can't die, to, A, where she still does those things, but, it's easier to kill her, it's easier to kill the people that she's trying to keep alive, etc., etc. Gengar, A, as well. I'll order this in a minute. I'll order this once I'm done everything. But right now, Gengar, A. Gengar was in S tier the last tier list video, but I believe he is in A tier now. The Hex nerf does hurt a little bit, even though they did fix the bug where it used to not do damage at all, which I found kind of funny and ironic. The move that did 1,000,000 damage did no damage for like a good day or two, day and a half, so that was hilarious. But now that it's fixed, I still don't feel like Hex just outright, blows you up anymore in 3 hexes. They did also lower the iframes of him coming out of Hex, so it's easier to catch him out of Hex now and have that counterplay to him just constantly spamming Hex. You kind of got to think about your choices a little bit more as Gengar, instead of just throwing Sludge Bomb into a crowd and mashing the Hex button 1,000,001 times and killing like almost the entire team. He got to think about his choices now, and as such, he's an A tier. Moving on, Greninja B tier. We did have one more B tier, it seems. And Greninja is a B tier. He's a bit higher end on B tier list in my opinion, but he's still a solid B tier. As far as the range attackers go, he's kind of one of the weaker ones in my opinion. Surf is good, and the fact that you get the cooldown reset if you kill a target is good. But like Surf kind of makes you want to play a little bit closer to the front line where you could potentially just get blown up and die because Surf's like dash range isn't like all that huge. On top of that, you use Smoke Screen because Smoke Screen's better than Double Team because it gives you the empowered basic attack, which if you go Smoke Screen, that kind of makes you want to play closer to the front line, and again, you just get blown up and die. So, and on top of that, your autos don't feel like they do that much damage. Water Shuriken is good and does do a good amount of damage and does allow you to stay further back though. But overall, I just don't be feeling the impact when I play as Greninja, when I have other Greninjas on my team, and when I see people who play Greninja in like my ranked games. His impact is not felt at all. Machamp, A. Machamp is extremely good, has one of the stronger power spikes, has one of the stronger power spikes at level 5. Not quite as strong as Lucario's, but very equal to Lucario's because Submission is definitely an incredibly strong move and it evolves at level 5. So you get the evolution at 5 and you get Submission, which is incredibly good. You get another power spike at 7 when you get the option of Close Combat or Cross Chop. Cross Chop is still better in my opinion even after the nerf, just because it's a dash, so you can like use Submission, which gives you the extra movement speed, use Cross Chop while using Submission to dash up to your opponent and still hit them with Submission. Submission's a fantastic move and can be like comboed into like that, and this Pokemon is just absurd. Their Unite move is definitely a game changer, definitely a playmaker type of like ultimate. You can yoke up an entire team and just beat them down and literally obliterate an entire team just dolo as Machamp. So really great Pokemon. Pikachu also A tier. Pikachu's early game with Electro Web is extremely oppressive. You pair them with like a Ninetales or like a Snorlax or anyone who has like CCs or slows or stuns or anything, and you are in for a time until they finally lose Electro Web, and then by then they just get more damage. So you know, they still just blow you up, they just don't hold you in place and blow you up anymore, they just straight blow you up now. Pikachu's Unite move is incredibly good because it demands space. Like, you must get out of that circle and not take that damage. If you try to go against Pikachu, you can literally light up an entire team. So, like, Pikachu is a very solid pick, just really good in the game, very few downsides, and it's very easy to pick up on top of that. So, you know, that could be considered too. Slowbro, A, another A tier pick. Slowbro's incredibly good, has Peel and Surf with the triple knockups, has like a levitating like hold up ability and disable. His ultimate does the same thing, and on top of that, his ultimate is also a game changer because like a lot of these problematic ults like Charizard's ult, like Garchomp's ult, like Machamp's ult, like Gengar's ult, like all of these lingering style of ults, Slowbro can literally yoke those people up with his ult and take them out the game. And literally just hold them up until their Unite moves burned out and take them out the game, take them out the fight. And that ability in and of itself is extremely good. The fact that he can do that is extremely good. Even if you're like a Cinderace, you pop the Unite move, maybe you hit someone, but now you're trying to like push somebody and dive someone, Slowbro can literally just yoke you up with his ult and take you out the game. And that shit is rough. Wigglytuff, A, someone who was like at the bottom of B, almost C tier, but has risen to the top at A and pretty high in A in my opinion, honestly. Wigglytuff is insanely good. They buffed the HP stat, they buffed the defense, buffed the special defense, buffed double slap, buffed sing. They literally buffed everything that was lackluster about this Pokemon and buffed some things that were already good about this Pokemon and just made it better. And now they are a team fight demon because they still have one of the better unite moves in the game currently. A team fight presence ult that just demands space that you do not want to be near, relatively near. And then they still have Sing and they still have Double Slap, and they got so much going on for it that this Pokemon's fantastic. Snorlax, the last S tier, boom. I feel like this shouldn't come as a surprise. Snorlax is incredibly good. Heavy Slam and Block are probably some of the best moves in the game right now, especially Block is just a very, very good playmaker style ult. You can use Block to push people, like push the enemy team off a goal so your team can score. You can push people off of like your carries and stuff, like off your damage dealers. If someone's trying to dive on top of your damage dealers, you can kind of hold their damage dealers, especially if they're near a wall. You can hold up their damage dealers while your damage dealers like take them out the game. Just Block is extremely good and has so many uses. Finally, Talonflame. Talonflame is got buffed. He was down here, now he's up here. He does absurd damage. He's one of the faster Pokemon in the jungle due to his passive. His ability to just use Brave Bird, and Brave Bird has a debuff where your basic attacks ignore defense, as well as an added ability that if you do a boosted basic attack, it resets Aerial Ace. So literally you can dive someone with Brave Bird, use Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace will give you a boosted attack. Boom, you boosted attack. That will reset the cooldown for Aerial Ace due to Brave Bird's passive. Boom, you do Aerial Ace. Boom, do another basic. Boom, that resets Aerial Ace one more time. And then boom, Aerial Ace into a boosted basic. And that's so much burst damage. And to the point where it's ridiculous. And Talonflame's up here. If I were to order this, those, I feel like Charizard's further back. I feel like Cramorant's behind him though. Slowbro is definitely like closer up here, really. That's seeming a little bit fine to me. Talonflame, Gengar, you can really argue either or, honestly, if you want to. That's fine, that's fine. You can really argue either or again here, but I kind of feel like that. Yeah. I feel like this is about right, as close to an order. Maybe this. Maybe that. Maybe that. Yeah. Maybe that. So yeah, this will probably be about the order that I will place things in. But for those who stuck to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Again, drop a subscribe, drop a like on the video. It would greatly help me out. Hit the bell notification so you're notified when my videos go up. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Deuces.